This is the A to Z podcast. Expert insights on leadership, business, real estate, investing, and growth.
I wrote a book called The Highest Level of Greatness, and this book used the stories of the great ones from diverse cultures and generations. And from my research of 2 decades, what I learned from these great ones was that they had three things in common. One, they knew who they were and they pursued their purpose. The second thing I have seen was that they all had clarity about the future, they had vision. And the third thing that I have seen from their stories was that they had principles, philosophies, and ideologies. They laid their life based on certain values. When I published that book, I got some pushbacks, and some people were telling me that, you know what, AZ, I don't want to be great. I just want to be who I am, and I'm happy with that. I was explaining to them all of these great ones when they started their journey, they didn't know they're going to be great. The goal was not just to be great. And I redefined greatness for them, telling them that greatness is about you becoming who you are and pursuing your purpose, the reason for your existence, and getting fulfilled. And this is within your control. You don't need to be popular. You don't need to be wealthy. You don't need to be that much VIP or celebrity to be great. And you are the only one to know whether you are great or not. And this is the pursuit of life that you follow, and other things will follow. One challenge I have seen in my writing was I didn't bring the stories of ordinary people. That was the challenge. And I'm writing another book, one at a time, on purpose, vision, and values. Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you two real stories of two people I personally know. And I want you to see the difference between these two stories and learn from their life. And hopefully, at the end of this conversation, you may be able to be convinced that if you haven't yet, to discover your purpose in life and pursue it and get fulfilled in life while you are alive on earth. It was some years back before COVID. I got a call. It was in the afternoon of one of the weekends, but I don't know whether it was Saturday or Sunday. I looked at my phone. I immediately recognized the person. I was so much excited and I picked it up. The first thing that came to me is, oh my gosh, is that you? Long time. How are you? I was losing my control. I was so excited. If you know the background, the story, you would agree with me. We were so close. We used to go out lunch after church. We used to meet during the weekdays, sometimes multiple times. And then he got married and we disconnected for a few years. And when he called me, I was so excited. But on the other side of the call, there was quietness. What I expected was him also to be excited like I was, because I know him. When we were meeting for coffee or lunch, he's always excited. He was a person who seems like holding the tail of a tiger, life being the tiger. And he was always excited about life. You could hear from his voice, like a music, how much he's excited about life. He was self motivated. But that day, he was very quiet. I immediately reciprocated, and I was quiet. I didn't know what to do. And I thought I was speaking to someone I didn't know. And with a very low voice, he said, as a kid, I lost everything. I couldn't grasp what he just said. So I said, what do you mean by you lost everything? He said, I lost my wife. I lost my daughter because I lost the custody battle, and I was fired from my job of 20 years. This time I was stunned. I felt very bad. My heart sank. And I didn't know what to say except to say I'm sorry to hear that. And he gave me some context about what happened. I didn't know whether to encourage him, whether to ask him questions. I didn't know. The only thing I suggested was to meet in person and talk about this. We scheduled a meeting, we met. This time I could physically see how much he was damaged. This was not the person I knew a few years ago. I wanted to listen and understand what was going on. And from his explanation, I could see that there's nothing left for him to live. He felt like quitting, and he felt like walking away from life. I was so much concerned. I had another call. It was during COVID. This time, I had a mentee, and he had a business, flourishing business, but the business was struggling during COVID because during COVID, his business style, it didn't flourish. It required people to come in person. And we met for a coffee, and he was explaining to me the progress he had made and struggles that he had. And he told me this, AZ, I didn't want to close my company before I talked to you. Now I talked to you this afternoon, I'm going to close the company. I was stunned. Even if I knew he was struggling, he actually invited me to speak to the group for an hour to encourage them to be resilient and persistent. I was coaching him how to deliver the bad news on why he should let go of some of the team members. But I didn't know that he was that close to completely close the business. What was surprising for me in that meeting was the way he was speaking, he was excited. He was speaking with passion and energy as if he lost nothing. And somehow I sensed that maybe he is in denial of what happened. And I was asking him questions. How are you feeling now? What you gonna do next? He didn't care. He was like, AZ, I'm at the verge of making a decision which impact me and other people. And I pass through this process as if it's part of life. And I look forward to the next chapter. He didn't feel like he lost something. I know he was mad and sad about what happened, but the way he was speaking, I didn't need to encourage him. I didn't need to comfort him. He was so much excited and passionate about his next move. What do you see from these two stories? These are real stories. One lost everything and gave up on life, was not willing to be encouraged and inspired, didn't want to restart his life and regain back his relationship and his job. No, he wanted to quit. On the other hand, my other friend, yes, he lost something. Yes, he didn't lose his wife. He was not married and he didn't have kids. But at least the company was kind of like his kid. He gave it all. Somebody in his place would have lost every energy, every motivation. Somebody would say, I will never do business again. Not my friend. The difference was this. As I inquired him about what he's going to do next, why he was not sad, I was asking him, I don't see any kind of frustration, any kind of sadness from him. And he explained to me that I do the business to sponsor and fund my purpose in life, my mission in life, my duty in life. Yes, I lost this business, but my passion continues, and I'll find another business to fund my purpose in life, what mattered the most to me. I'll bring back my people to new opportunities. That's why I'm not lowering my head and bowing down. Because he had his North Star. He may lose everything, but he's not losing something for which he has control. Yes, he didn't have control about COVID hitting. He didn't have control about the rules and regulations during COVID. He didn't have control about his business going down, but he had control about how he reacted. And he reacted that way because he had something bigger than himself, something that transcends time and space, something which is good for the greater good, something that gives him contentment, and most importantly, the resilience, the persistence he needs to keep on going. The question I want to ask you is this: have you discovered what matters the most for you? Do you have control on it? Or are you dependent on other people? Like my friend, he couldn't be able to keep his marriage because his wife also need to be in the relationship. He lost the custody because the court decided the decision and he didn't have 100% control in that. He lost his job. He was fired because he didn't have 100% say in his job. They let him go after 20 years. You and I, there are things we cannot control. There are things we love today. There are things we're committed for, but they may be gone tomorrow. We may lose them. The question is when. It's gonna happen. It's not if, it's gonna happen. It could be our health. It could be our relationship. It could be our partnership. It could be our business. It could be something we're proud of. It could be gone like this. The question is that the only thing that keeps you going? Do you have your North Star? Do you have a purpose bigger than yourself? A purpose which goes beyond time and space? If you have, well, I want to congratulate you. You may go up and down. You may experience setback, but you will never give up on life. You keep on going, regardless of the losses, the setback. You use the setback and the losses to learn lessons, to become wiser, to develop immunity, to become resilient, to share to other people how you overcame the challenges that you passed, to comfort other people, to mentor other people, to help them get over losses and setbacks. If you haven't started that kind of question, the question about your purpose, because your purpose is closely attached to who you are, the way you're wired, the true self. And if you find that purpose, that mission, that duty in life, you completely change. Yes, you work hard. Yes, you build the relationships. Yes, you go out and do what you have to do on a daily basis. But when life hits you, when you experience setbacks, if you have that one thing which is bigger than you, no setback, no loss, no misfortune could be able to put you down, to give up on life. You keep on going. When I publish the book, I'm going to share with you right now, if you want to read about the highest level of greatness, The first part talks about how the people you and I admire discovered their purpose and they became great in their own ways, in their own unique ways, because they discovered who they were and why they were during that time and generation. And you could do that. And I encourage you to check out that book. If you need anything, reach out and I will talk to you. Thank you for listening to me, and I look forward to seeing you with another live station. Bye-bye. Thank you.